They even have some of that like craggy chicken fat little deliciousness that is attached to them, like the bits that are left behind in a roasting pan when you take the meat off. You can usually find me in the kitchen with that roasting pan. Chicken and potatoes is a fantastic meal, even if you just season everything with a little bit of oil, salt, and pepper. But the recipe I'm gonna make for you today uses a flavor-packed rub that will season the chicken inside and out. And best of all, it's hearty and simple. So I wanna start by making the seasonings for the chicken first. So I'm gonna use some fresh thyme and lemon zest. And lemon zest actually has more flavor in it than the lemon juice. So I'm looking for 2 teaspoons. I just pinch right at the top, slide my fingers down. It smells so good, really floral. And thyme also has that lemony component to it, so it goes really nicely with the lemon zest. And I bet rosemary would also be good in this too, just saying. All right, and then I'm just gonna run my knife through this a few times. I'm gonna check my work here. I'm gonna pack it in there. A little extra time didn't hurt anyone. Now I need to grate some lemon zest. I always use a rasp style grater because it really clings on nicely to the zest and it doesn't get too much of the pith, which can be really bitter and unpleasant. And this recipe is great for many different reasons, but one of the main reasons is that everything is done essentially at the same time. By the time the chicken is done resting, the potatoes are done cooking. So it's a really, really smart recipe. I'm looking for 1½ teaspoons of the lemon zest. And don't go crazy when zesting a lemon. You don't want to go anywhere past that white part. All right, that's 1. And I need ½ teaspoon more. All right. And I'm also going to add some smoked paprika. And that's going to help to add a little bit of color to the chicken. But because it's smoked, it's also going to add that really nice smoky flavor. And a little bit of sweetness too. So I'm looking for 1½ teaspoons of this. I'm going to do a little bit of salt and pepper. I need 1 teaspoon of salt and ½ teaspoon of pepper. All right, okay, perfect. A little bit extra. And now finally a few tablespoons of some olive oil. 1, 2. Give it a good mix. And look at that texture. It's pretty thick, which is going to be great for putting on the chicken. And then finally with the lemons that I did zest, I'm going to cut them into wedges. I always cut lemons into, each half usually into 4 slices. And then just to be sure that no one gets a big seed or anything when they spritz it on their food, I always cut off just that white part right there. All right, those will hang out till later. The seasoning is all done. Now it's time to focus on Mr. Chicken. So this is 1 whole chicken that I went ahead already and discarded the giblets. First things first is I'm gonna get nice and friendly with this chicken and I'm going to separate the skin from the meat. So I'm going in there just with a few of my fingers. I know it doesn't look very pretty, but it's worth it. Grabbing the seasoning and I'm gonna put it in the chicken, underneath the skin, and on top of the skin. You wanna get it all over the chicken. Be one with the chicken. All right, let's get this massage going, shall we? So where are you from? Do you have any kids? Did you have any kids? Don't forget the underside. So the reason I separated the skin from the meat is because I am getting in there and putting the seasoning on top of the meat, which is going to help to season that meat directly. And then I'm also putting the seasoning on the exterior on top of the skin because then it's going to season and flavor that skin as well. Using your thumbs, just kind of twist these wingtips back and you're going to use just the wingtip to hold itself behind that breast, just like so. And the only reason I'm doing that is just so that the wingtips don't burn when they're in the oven. I have a little bit of butcher's twine that I'm just going to, here, I'll show you this way. Just gonna gather the drumsticks this way. This is a slippery bird, not gonna lie. Stop getting sassy. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna tie 1 knot around this drumstick. Then I'm gonna tie another knot around this sassy drumstick because it doesn't want to stay put. Now I've got more control. So now I'm going to tie the rope, otherwise known as twine, around these guys. Am I getting pranked? I feel like I'm getting pranked. All right, perfect. It's that easy. That's just going to ensure that nothing's going to burn or cook quicker than the rest of the bird. It's all in there, one happy family. I have to wash up, clean up, and then it's time to start the potatoes. I'm using 2 pounds of Yukon Gold potatoes, and that's because the Yukon Golds have a really great texture and they hold up really well, especially because we're going to be cooking them underneath the chicken. So that means they're going to absorb a ton of that chicken goodness. But I do need to peel them first, just to make cleanup a little bit easier. I'm just peeling them over this paper towel so I can just pick it up, toss it in the trash. So be sure to pick out evenly sized potatoes just to ensure everything cooks at the same rate. I'm actually going to cut these into some pretty big slices. I'm going to slice them 1 inch thick. Here's that trick, guys. I want to just cut off the rounded part just to ensure I have a nice stable potato that's not going to be wobbling around on me. And then I'm also going to cut off just the rounded ends. And that's because we want nice flat surface area for the browning. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil and 1.5 teaspoons of salt and ½ teaspoon pepper. I've got a 12-inch nonstick skillet right over there, and these are going to go directly into the skillet cold. I don't have to preheat it. But what's important is that the potatoes are in a single layer, which is why we cut them so thick. I'm just going to pour any extra oil, salt, pepper I have in there. Just a little dab will do ya, you know? This is stage 1 of the potatoes. I'm going to cook the potatoes over medium heat for 7 to 9 minutes until the bottoms are just brown. Resist the urge to move the potatoes around. Don't flip them, don't touch them, because you want that time to get the contact with the skillet so that it gets a good amount of browning. If I were just to bake it in the oven with the chicken on it, they wouldn't be fully cooked and they would probably steam and not be very brown. So this is going to be worth it. I'm using a nonstick skillet that is safe for a 400-degree oven. Okay, so I'm going to turn the heat off because I know I said don't flip them, but I made up the rule so I can break it. Just want to show you what I mean. So that is the browning we're looking for at this step. And I went ahead, preheated an oven to 400 degrees, and I put the oven rack at the lower middle position. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the chicken directly onto the potatoes, breast side up. All right, I'm going to put this in the oven and let it go for about 1 hour to 1.25 hours. You're looking for the breast to register 160 degrees and the drumsticks and thighs to register 175. Oh boy, this is a thing of beauty. I'm going to leave the towel here just so I don't forget that this is a very hot handle. And now I'm going to just make sure that the internal temperature of the breast is 160. Awesome, 162, that is close enough. I'm going to transfer the chicken to a carving board. I'm going to tent it with some foil. Chicken needs to rest for 20 minutes, but that is good because I need to return the potatoes to the oven just to finish cooking for about 20 minutes. Now I'm going to cover it with a lid. That lid is going to help trap that steam in there, which will help to finish cooking the potatoes. And it's also going to prevent them from getting too dark. So again, back in the oven for 20 minutes. Okay, the time has come. Again, I'm gonna leave that side towel there just because it is hot, hot, hot. Wow, look at those, like schmaltzy, chickeny, beautiful potatoes. I can't wait to see what they look like underneath. All right, I'm gonna break down the chicken, so I'll walk you through that. We have our handy dandy twine from earlier, so I'm gonna say bid you adieu. Okay. I want to point out the skin is crispy, and you can see that beautiful coloring. I'm so excited. All right, I'm gonna start with the drumsticks and the thighs, and I have a nice sharp boning knife, which is really good and pliable and sharp. Sharp, 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 that's your friend. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make long cuts. No, sawing motions, long cuts. Try to show you this way. And cuts right through. My family loves leg quarters, so I am gonna keep this together, but you could separate the thigh from the drumstick. Naturally, that twine is hanging on there because it's, so I'll put that right there on the platter. All right, now I'll repeat with this drumstick. Again, long slices. You really let the weight of the chicken do the work for you as well as the knife. I was trying to do it upside down, but it wasn't as easy as I wanted it to be. Beautiful. Take the wings off because we love our wings. Now what I'm going to do is using the boning knife. The breastbone is right here, so I'm going to use that as my guide. And again, long cuts. Sort of curve your knife once you get to the bottom of the breast, and you just follow the bone. It comes right off. Once this is cool, I'm going to transfer it to a Ziploc bag and put the carcass in my freezer, because then I can just make a chicken stock whenever I'm in the mood. I'm just going to slice on the bias into 3 pieces. And try to keep that skin intact if you can. It's where a sharp knife comes in handy there. To the platter. Perfect. Okay, now it's time to see our potatoes. What are we working with here? Oh boy. Caramelized to perfection. Browned, crisp. Oh my goodness. They even have some of that like craggy chicken fat little deliciousness that is attached to them. Like the bits that are left behind in a roasting pan when you take the meat off. You can usually find me in the kitchen with that roasting pan. Look at this platter. I mean, for any kind of weeknight meal, even if you have company over, this meal looks absolutely delicious. Time to taste. I'll take 1 potato. It's actually crispy on one side. That is so, so good. All right, let's try this chicken. A little bit of smoke from that smoked paprika. Super juicy chicken, little crispy skin, and it only took 1 pan. 1 pan roast chicken and potatoes. Thanks for watching. The recipe link is in the description below, and let me know in the comments what your go-to recipe is for roast chicken.